Lamu town boasts of a rich tourist-attracting culture that has earned it a place of pride as one of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites. Here, life is almost idyllic. The clear blue waters inviting to both the residents and hundreds of visitors who come to take in the unpolluted air. This historic town is also the setting of a 200 billion shilling, 1,050 megawatt coal power plant project. The project is owned by Lamu Power. Construction of the plant was meant to have begun in September 2015. Those plans ran into environmental headwinds, causing delay.
Mradi huu ambao umekuwa ni mradi wa miaka mitatu sasa hivi takriban umezungumzwa, ambao umeleta vuta nikuvute katika kaunti yetu hii. Tutautizama kihivi, tutalinganisha baina faida zake na madhara yake. Tukipata kwamba madhara yake ni mengi kuliko faida zake, itakuwa msimamo wetu ni kwamba yatupasa tuseme hatutaki.
Kama huu mradi wenyewe wautaka wananchi ufanywe, lakini kama wananchi hawataki usifanywe, ilishia hapo.
In February 2018, the resistance to the project kicked a notch higher. Residents were informed of the potential hazardous effects the plant could have on the environment by a group of activists, Save Lamu. Lamu Power's attempts to counter the activist pressure by educating the residents on the benefit of the project were largely ineffective, as residents did not seem receptive of the company's effort.
Wengi wanaokwenda si wale watu wenye maoni. Wengi wanaokwenda ni watu ni wale siku zote, kila semina ikiweko ni hao kwa hao.
Kama nufaa hawakutueleza, hawakutuambia hasara wala faida.
Further complaints were directed towards the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, the body authorized with approving the project.
NEMA amekubali kutoa leseni na wavuvi baina kiasi ya 5%, 505 tu ambao ndio wamepata habari hiyo, lakini kuna 100% ambao hawakupata habari hiyo.
When the project is brought to us, we also involve the people. The project is taken to stakeholder departments for their comments, so that they can criticize the report, they can critique the report and say where we're supposed to make improvements. This one also being a study report, it was advertised in the papers.
The proposed site for the coal power plant is Kwasasi in Lamu. Residents here had been promised land compensation by the National Land Commission to a tune of 1.2 million shillings. To their dismay, the price was revised downwards to 800,000 Kenya shillings.
Kitu cha kwanza ni wale wavuvi walioko hapa kwa upande wa coal. Pia na wale wakulima ambao kwamba walioko hapa karibu na site. Compensation ndio imeleta shida kubwa sana. Baada ya wao kutolewa kwenye maeneo, ilikuwa watakikana wapewe compensation. Mpaka wa leo compensation hawajapewa.
Sharifa was part of the Lamu delegation that visited the Karabiga coal power plant in Turkey, and she agrees that there lacks enough information in Lamu about the coal project.
Changamoto kubwa sana ambayo kwamba imetukabili ni awareness, kuwaelimisha jamii. Lakini nani atapinga mradi ikiwa tunajua mradi utaleta natija kwetu sisi kama kina mama, kwa watoto wetu ambao kwamba wanazurura ovyo mitaani.
Kabla ya kuondoka hapa Lamu, nilikuwa na wasiwasi mwingi sana kwa sababu ya hawa vijana au activist wa wetu wa Lamu, ilikuwa wakimwaga ile uongo au propaganda juu ya hii mradi.
This, according to ERC Director General Pavel Oimeke, should be an incentive for Kenya to choose coal energy.
If you visit all over the world, the countries, and even United Arab Emirates, they're doing a big coal power plant. They're also doing solar. So really having that healthy mix of doing like Dubai is doing 3,000 megawatt of coal. To me, that's a good thing because you're looking at conserving the environment. You're also looking at the socio-economic aspects of the country, not just the environmental aspect.
It is expected that the global economy will reach a peak demand for coal in the next 2 years. Britain is reported to plan a close down of 8 remaining coal power stations by 2025.
A number of coal plants are being mothballed. The reason they're being mothballed is because the cost, first of all, the technology that was used to build those coal power plants was subcritical technology. And the US obviously discovered shale gas. Now shale gas, they have their own resource and they can put up natural, or what you call combined cycle gas turbine power plants very easily. And therefore, because they have a natural resource and they have the technology to build the power plants, they can actually build those power plants fairly quickly.
The modern technology used in Karabiga, Turkey, is what will be used in operating the Lamu coal power plant. As part of the pioneers of the Environmental Assessment Impact Study conducted between January 2015 and August 2016, Sanjay explains that the focus was on the design of the project to check on positive and adverse impact, air quality, terrestrial ecology, marine ecology, noise ecology, soils and geology, social impact, community health and safety, as well as labor and working conditions.
Once we understood the baseline and we predicted the impacts, we came up with enhancement measures for the positive impacts that could arise potentially from the project, and we came up with mitigation measures for the adverse impacts that could potentially arise from the project.
According to experts, the design of the Lamu coal project will implement the clean coal technology to have low nitrous oxide burners to comply with the Kenyan environmental air quality regulations, an electrostatic machine meant to remove all the soot that will be generated from the boiler, and a unit to manage all the sulfur oxides in the emissions.
We're actually going to be emitting very, very low levels of nitrous oxides, sulfur oxides, particulate matter in this project. So it's misplaced to think that there's going to be health impacts that will arise on the communities that live either in Lamu, on Lamu Island, or Pate Island, or Manda Bay, or Manda Island, or on the mainland itself.
To power this plant, Kenya will be importing coal from South Africa, Mozambique, Indonesia or Australia. However, even as Kenya readies itself to form coal alliances with other countries, her plans to extract coal from the Mui Basin, Kitui, was dealt a major blow in September 2018 as Kitui residents vowed to block extraction of the fossil fuel deposits until concern on land compensation and environmental impact were addressed.
The government, the Attorney General, including Fancy Company, should engage with the local community in Mui so that they make a plan for an environmental impact assessment, which up to today it has not been done.
This is no different from sentiments by Lamu residents.
Shamba yetu yalikuwa ni ina eka 10. Lakini kutuko watu wa 4. Lakini tukaikata vipande.
Kwa hivyo kwa hii shamba katika hii box umesema ulipokwenda kule lands ni Nairobi?
Hapana, hapa Mokowe.
Hapa Mokowe. So ulipata shamba yako ikoaje?
Imetiwa watu wageni.
Majina mengine yako ndani?
Kukuja surveyor kupima tu, walisema tu kwamba kuna matajiri 11 ambao wako na karatasi za hii sehemu, na ambapo hii sehemu iko kama around 40 years kutokea mababu zetu wanalima, na hakuna mtu aliyekuja akasema ni zake.
According to Amu Power, the government is still working on a land compensation formula. In a statement sent on 20th September 2018, Amu says, and I quote, "The Ministry of Energy, National Lands Commission and County Government of Lamu developed a resettlement action plan guided by the International Finance Corporation and African Development Bank guidelines. The names of persons to be compensated was published on 3rd February 2017 in the Daily Nation. End of quote. Aside from the issue of land compensation, Lamu Old Town seems to be ailing in its socio-economic status as well.
Kama hizo projects zote ziko hapa Lamu, mimi nina hakika hayo maovu yote hayangetokea. Vijana wangelikuwa na shughuli za kufanya, wangelikuwa na makazi ya kufanya, Lamu yetu ingepanuka, ingetajirika na kila jambo lingelikuwa sawa.
I'm standing at what will be the biggest port in the region, the Lamu port. A big port needs big power. Kenya has one of the most developed power sectors in sub-Saharan Africa, but energy experts agree that this power needs to be diversified in terms of its sources.
Typically, if you are a manufacturing entity, you want to come to the country, you will look at what we have in terms of power supply. We have had many investors come into the country asking, what capacity do you have? Can I set up a steel smelting plant? Can I set up a cement manufacturing? And most of the times we have realized that we do not have that enough power.
Part of that shortfall in energy demand will be plugged by the energy generated through the Lake Turkana wind project. However, energy experts say wind energy is not stable enough to provide a base load for the national grid. Currently, hydropower generation provides the cheapest power tariff rate at the moment at 5 shillings per kilowatt hour. Geothermal gives 8.80 shillings per kilowatt hour, while wind and solar are highest at 11 shillings and 12 shillings per kilowatt hour, respectively.
This particular coal power plant will be selling its power to Kenya Power at 7.52 or 7.5 US dollar cents per kilowatt hour, which is about 7 shillings and 50 cents. So in terms of where this fits in, if I were Kenya Power, I would obviously look for the cheaper sources of power to purchase first before I look for the more expensive ones.
The Lamu coal power project is part of the 5,000 megawatt program that the Kenyan government is intending to implement. However, some energy experts warn that the Lamu coal plant will be Kenya's most expensive project, costing the country 36 billion shillings in capacity charge, whether the country uses the power it generates or not.
Kulingana na yale nilokwenda kuona Uturuki, na iomba serikali ianze haraka upesi sasa hivi, na ikiwa ni si sasa ni hivi sasa.
As a regulator, we are neutral. We are keen to make sure that we bring in that affordable, competitive cost of energy to the country. At the same time, we are concerned because we live in one world village. We also don't want to restore an environment. But let's not have a minimalistic mindset where we think we want to condemn a technology, and yet technology has advanced to give us something that is sustainable. I call it sustainable energy.
The 1,050 megawatt coal power plant would be located here in Kwasasi area, Lamu County. It's about 975 acres, but not all that will be used for the coal power plant. If all goes well, in up to 4 years, the coal power plant will be up and operational in an area that is about 28 kilometers from the Lamu town center. Melmiendo reporting for NTV in Kwasasi area, Lamu County.